What's happening, y'all? So one of the biggest things that I want to talk about right now is why is it that league bowling does not generate more good bowlers? There's one complaint that comes from league bowlers, the 220, 230 plus league bowlers. At the center that they bowl at, they don't get the opportunity to bowl on things other than the league pattern. So when you're only bowling on those league patterns, you really never get to see exactly what your bowling ball's doing. You never get the experience of playing different angles on the lanes because let's be honest, with the house shot, with the patterns the way they're built, you don't have to be a great bowler because the patterns they're built to make it to where your ball is basically funneled to the pocket. On the flatter conditions, you don't have that, at least not right away. Now, the other thing that's really difficult is people don't know how to build an arsenal, and it's really difficult to build an arsenal for anything because most bowling balls look basically the same, especially on a fresh house shot. So I want to talk today a little bit about what we can do to build an arsenal, what we can look for, and try to figure out ways to get better as a bowler, even if we have to bowl on the house shot all the time. Let's talk about all that here in a minute. Stay tuned. All right, so the challenge we have with bowling on league conditions is trying to determine like which bowling ball is different than the other. Like we have numbers, like we know this one's a hybrid, this one's a pearl, this one's a solid. We can kind of make assumptions, but how do we determine which bowling balls are gonna make our bag and how are we gonna determine on a fresh league condition, like which bowling balls are gonna be different enough to go and be able to make it to where we can make a decision when the lanes are tough. Like this is one of the major reasons why a lot of the best league bowlers, you know, they're 220, 230 average league bowlers. When they go out to USBCs, they average 150, 160. It's like, well, what's the difference? Like they make decisions in league understanding the difference in their bowling balls going from this ball to that ball. But why is it so different out there? Well, it's because of the way the lanes are oiled. It's completely different than what you see in league, and that can cause a problem. And it requires you to be a little bit more accurate out there. You know, you got to make your spares. Whereas if you're striking 7, 8 times a game, you don't have to shoot as many spares. Out there, you're not striking 7, 8 times a game in most cases. So you're shooting at a lot more spares, a lot more opportunities to miss spares. So it's very vital to create an arsenal of bowling balls that you can work with. So if I throw a shot here, let's say I've got this ricochet, and it's a 45 by 5 by 45 layout on it. I'm gonna put my feet on 25. I'm gonna try to hit that 14, 15, 16 range. Let's see what it does. All right, that looked pretty good, right? So now let me grab this Theorem hybrid. So we should expect to see a different result, right? If anything, we should expect to see this hybrid be, you know, a little bit overall stronger because it's got some solid in it. It's got the stronger core, you know, but let's take a look. I'm gonna throw it and try to throw it in the same spot. Should be stronger. We should see a lot of differences, right? I mean, I could see a little bit of a difference, but to the naked eye, to most people, when you watch the ball go down the lane, you don't really see a whole lot of difference. So when you're watching these bowling balls and you're throwing them both, and they're both striking, how do you decide what to do with these bowling balls? Like, how do you do that when you're bowling on league conditions that are fresh, that makes most of the patterns look the same? You know, that's a very difficult thing. All right, so now I'm gonna take another symmetrical pearl. I've got this Primal Evolution, and it's laid out the same way, and I want to see if it is going to show a difference. All right, maybe a little bit of a difference there. That one got further down the lane. But again, is it enough of a difference to where we can say, okay, let's take that one and this one? Like, how do we go about making these decisions? So my advice is you've got to bowl on not fresh conditions. You've got to go throw these bowling balls when the lanes are beaten up and broken down. And you've got to be able to see, because that's when you're going to see the biggest difference in the bowling balls. You're going to see the difference in how the cover stocks react to all that dry in the front and the oil down lane. Watch the difference between these balls. It's the best time to go evaluate your equipment, to notice, okay, I can get lined up with this ball and I can throw it here. And now what happens if I throw this ball in that same spot? All of a sudden, this ball that looked almost identical as it did as the other ball on a fresh condition, well, now all of a sudden this one's seeing the friction earlier. It's going high compared to this one that's striking there. Bingo, light bulb should go off. Okay, now we see a little bit of a difference. These things, these are the mental notes you need to make in your mind about the differences in the bowling balls. You know, say my Primal Evolution looks good on Cheetah at Thunderbolt, but it doesn't look very good here. You know, you can't necessarily just say, okay, this ball looked good on that pattern in this place, so it's gonna look good on that pattern in every place. You've got to understand, okay, why didn't it look good here, but it looked good at Thunderbolt? And that's why it's important to train your eyes to see your ball motion going down the lane. It's really difficult to do, but once you find what you're looking for, it becomes a whole lot easier to replicate that. So like a lot of the best bowlers on tour, your EJ Tackett, Belmo, Simo, Troop, all these guys, you know, they're figuring out how to recreate ball motion on all of these patterns, because the end goal is still the same, to get your ball to react this specific way, because you know it's going to A, give you room for error, and B, go through the pins properly. If you can recreate that shape on pretty much every pattern, you know, then you're gonna be gold. And that's exactly why guys like EJ and Troop and Belmo and Simo and these guys, that's why they dominate the tour, is because they understand what their bowling balls are doing, they understand what they're looking for, and they understand how to physically generate that type of ball motion no matter what they're bowling on. So my suggestion always is going to be go bowl when the lanes are not fresh. You know, it's one of those things, you've got to see your balls on how they're going to react through transition type periods, not always on the fresh. So you've got to get yourself in some environments that make you uncomfortable, that make your ball reaction bad, so you can learn to create good ball motion. Not just complain because the lanes haven't been oiled in a couple of weeks or whatever it may be. Go out there and practice on those. That's what's going to make you better. Go do these things and try to figure out how to create an arsenal so you can then understand, well, hey, here's my progression. This ball's stronger than this ball, stronger than this ball, stronger than this ball. This symmetric ball is doing this different than this symmetric ball. In transition, these two balls are completely different in this way. Although they look the same on the fresh, I'm going to choose this ball because I know through transition, it reacts better than this ball. Like you have to put this stuff into play. So I hope this helps. Make sure to head over to 10pindoctors.com, head over to bowlerx.com, get all your bowling goods over there. That's all I got for you. Until next time, we'll see you guys later. Take care.